Good afternoon to all. Let me begin just by saying to you that the city of Cape Town is a metropolitan city situated in South Africa and is situated on the southwestern tip of Africa. It consists of 3.5 million people in an area of 2,500 kilometers square. In other words, it's a 50 by 50 kilometer area. It is also the legislative capital of South Africa, where Parliament is situated. The major hazards are fires and floods, informal settlements. That is what we refer to as our so-called slum areas. And then we also have the hazards of vegetation fires during our summer months. The other hazards are sea level rise, which is experienced on part of our coastline, being 207 kilometers in length, and it's part of the climate change as such. We are experiencing quite a lot of urbanization at this point in time, where people are coming in from the hinterland and coming into the city in search of jobs. And this is giving us quite a challenge at this point in time. There are two faces of the city. You have the poorer areas, as I indicated to you, where we have informal settlements. But on the other side, you also have the very rich, where you have homes on the coastline, such as Clifton, Bantry Bay, Camps Bay, Sea Point, etc. And so the challenge for the city is to manage these two faces of the city and to ensure that they are treated in an equitable way. I'm now just going to go over to the next part of my slide, and I'm going to just try to stick to the brief that's given to us. What was the relevance of LDSAT, Local Government Self-Assessment Tool, to local government? Well, I can say to you, it served as an excellent checklist to gauge disaster resilience in cities. That's my feeling on it. It definitely provides a roadmap how to build resilience capacity in your city. The City of Cape Town did an evaluation as to what the elements of the 10 essentials are and are in place already, and we found to our surprise that 8 of the 10 essentials were already in place. Furthermore, it is helpful as a diagnostic tool to determine the status of disaster resilient cities, as well as to identify gaps and priorities that need attention to reduce urban risk. I found it to be a good instrument to set the basis for multi-stakeholder engagement in the city and towards working towards attaining disaster resilient status. What was the process that we did, in approaching and using the Local Government Self-Assessment Tool? Well, we started the Disaster Risk Management Center. That's the center that we refer to here, for which I'm the head. We called a meeting, a workshop of all multiple stakeholders to explain the concept of the Local Government Self-Assessment Tool. The essentials were worked through at a plenary session with the multiple stakeholders being encouraged to indicate areas where they felt they were contributing or can contribute to the objective of a particular essential in striving to build disaster resilience in the city. So, we tried to get buy-in immediately with the line function departments as well as the other external role players. Now, the stakeholders were also encouraged to adopt the philosophy of disaster risk management is everybody's business, so that risk reduction could become embedded in line function departments in their daily tasks and functions. The stakeholders were requested to go back to their workplaces and to rethink their inputs and their contribution to the 10 essentials in building resilience, and they were asked to submit their proposals electronically by a set date. I think in this instance it was a month. The process in the City of Cape Town was coordinated and managed by the Disaster Risk Management Center. A second and a final meeting workshop was held within a month to conclude the process and to finalize the inputs of the multiple stakeholders regarding the 10 essentials. Using the template provided on the website, the Local Government Self-Assessment Tool for the city with all detail associated with the various essentials was completed online. Now, how did we use the Local Government Self-Assessment Tool to date? As part of our International Disaster Risk Reduction celebrations in October 2011, that's last year, the Centre organized a highly marketed event indicating Cape Town has signed up as a role model city for the Making Cities Resilient, My City is Getting Ready campaign in collaboration with UNISDR and ICLE. The city showcased 8 of the 10 essentials in a local program that took place from the 10th to the 12th of October 2011. For this 3-day event, the city partnered with the provincial government of the Western Cape and the national government, where Day 1 was sponsored by the city, Day 2 was sponsored by the provincial government, and Day 3 by the national government. I can further say that the Disaster Risk Management Center of the city was officially opened on day 1, on October the 1st, indicating that this facility was part of meeting Essential 1. Members of the public and other role players were invited to the official opening of the Disaster Management Center to view the facilities and resources used to provide for the coordination of disasters and to risk reduction initiatives within the city. So we opened this to them, and the next slide coming up indicates the official opening of the center. This is the municipal councillor who is the councillor responsible for the Mako Council, councillor responsible for the mayoral committee, responsible for safety and security, with myself there, and the center was officially opened. This is another view just of the people that basically attended it, and members of the public that were invited as well. Now, part 8 of showcasing of the 8 essentials that the city met included a 3-day exhibition of the various stakeholders. This included the city departments and the external agencies, and this was held on the concourse section of the Civic Center, which is the headquarters of the city, that was accessible to the public. The slide that comes up here just shows you a slide of the concourse where we had the exhibition, and they all the relevant line function departments were also had exhibitions in that. This is just another photograph coming up, and you can see there, you know, the topmost part on the one slide there, you'll say Cape Town is getting ready. We personalized it by saying Cape Town is getting ready because we thought this was essential to capture the attention of the public. The media conference was organized as well on the day 2, and 200 learners in grade 6 from 3 local schools were invited to participate to support the disaster risk reduction education and awareness in schools, as well as the signing of the Children's Charter to raise awareness for the need for a child approach to disaster risk reduction, which is alluded to in Essential 5. The slide I'm showing you now is of our council chamber, and with the 200 school children occupying it, and we found this to be very, very motivational for the school learners because they were occupying the seats, in actual fact, of the politicians, of the local councillors in the council chamber, and it, gave them a sense of pride to occupy those seats. This next slide is just of our mayor, where she had officially signed an enlarged children's charter, and where we had got political buy-in right from the top politically for this initiative. Furthermore, we also organized a seminar in the council chambers which showcased the application of the 8 essentials, with the individual line function departments presenting papers on their input to the essentials in making the city's resilient campaign. This was on day 3. On that day as well, we got the Executive Mayor of Cape Town to launch the Family Preparedness Plan, which was prepared by our centre, and this enables families to be better prepared to handle disasters, emergencies where these incidents arise. We believe it's essential that disaster management planning starts with the family unit, and therefore every family should start with devising a preparedness plan for the family. This initiative has enabled Cape Town now to become the first city in South Africa to be granted role model status by the UNISDR. That is just a copy of a family disaster preparedness plan, which which we have been issuing to all the families now to capture their details and to prepare them. Then my comment in terms of local government self-assessment tool, in terms of its usages between national versus local government. In South Africa, we are fortunate that we have the Disaster Risk Management Act 57 of 2002, as well as the National Disaster Management Framework 2005. This legislation or policy is aligned with the IOGA framework of action. The slide coming up is just a copy of our National Disaster Management Act to the right, and to the left you have the National Disaster Management Framework, which, as I've indicated, is aligned with the IOGA framework of action. And I think for us, just politically, it was the right thing at the right time. We had a new dispensation, and so we could, in actual fact, then start afresh with disaster management, with the disaster risk reduction approach, in terms of what the IOGA framework of action offered us at that point in time. This has made it a statutory imperative to build disaster resilience and disaster risk reduction capacity within all levels of government, as the Act, or the Disaster Management Act, deals with the roles and responsibilities of all three levels of government by dedicating a chapter to each level in the legislation. The experience of the City of Cape Town is that the local government self-assessment tool serves to further reinforce disaster risk reduction and resilience capacity building, and complements the existing statutory instruments. I thank you.